I'm Jack, 35. I cheated on my wife of 12 years for a stupid fling. I wish I hadn't because here we are,
So,
5 months after the divorce. I live in a small studio apartment instead of our home, and I can't concentrate on my job when I'm at work. I realize now that the affair was stupid, and I'd do anything to get her back. But let me go back. Joyce and I had met at a local bar when I was 22 and she was 25. I loved her spontaneity, her laugh, and the way she carried herself. She was an events planner and had an extensive client base. We fell in love almost immediately and were married soon after that. It was a whirlwind romance. We lived in a modest house on the edge of town. It wasn't much, but it was ours. Things were good for maybe the first 10 years, I would say. Then at work, I met Janet. Janet was reserved, even a little shy, but I found that to be somewhat attractive. Maybe it's just that she was what Joyce wasn't. Maybe I wanted that contrast in my life. I don't know. Anyway, things didn't start out romantically. They never do. Instead, we would meet at the local Starbucks to discuss work at first. Then the topic switched to more personal things like our interests, where we dreamed of going someday, etc. That escalated to late night texts, meetups at lunch, and eventually staying after work to talk. I told Joyce that I got held up at work on those particular days. Joyce accepted my lies because she loved and trusted me. I wish I could have realized that then. Maybe what happened next wouldn't have if I had realized that. It was a Saturday. Joyce was off visiting her mother, and Janet stopped by unexpectedly. I don't know what she expected she was coming over for, since she couldn't have known Joyce was away. Instead of telling her this was crossing a boundary that I didn't want to cross, I let her in. At first, we just talked, but when Janet realized Joyce was away, and would be for some time, she got closer. She rubbed up against me and made looks on her face that were seductive, like biting her bottom lip. And then it happened. We kissed. A hard kiss with a lot of passion behind it. Soon we moved things up to the bedroom. She was great in bed. Shy at work, maybe, but not in the bedroom. I couldn't get enough. When she finally left a couple of hours later, I couldn't stop thinking about her. For months after that, we continued to meet when we could. I'd make up some lie to Joyce that I was going out with the guys, or had to work late, or got unexpectedly called into the office for something. It was going great until one Wednesday night when it all fell apart. I had gone to the bathroom, but left my phone face up on the coffee table. That's when Janet saw a text from Janet. The text said, "Can you arrange for Joyce to be away this weekend? Or make some other excuse so we can meet? Your house or a hotel doesn't matter to me. I just know I have to see you again." Needless to say, when I got out of the bathroom, I was met with a fury I had never seen in Joyce. She screamed, "Who is Janet?" I saw that Joyce was holding my phone, so I quickly put two and two together. I told her she was a co-worker. I admitted to a short affair, because what else could I do? I tried to tell her it was over, though. I told her Janet was trying to keep it going, but that I had broken it off. Joyce asked how long. I told her just a month, which was a lie, of course. Joyce immediately went upstairs and started packing her things. She said, "I'm staying at my mother's house for a while." I asked how long. I tried to convince her that she was overreacting, that the affair was over, but she wasn't having it. She said she needed time and space away from me to think things over. I pleaded with her not to leave. I told her I'd do anything she wanted, counseling or transparency, whatever. She simply said, "I'll let you know what I decide when I've decided whether or not we can save our marriage." I again begged her not to leave, to stay and talk about it, but she left. She stopped momentarily in the doorway and said, "You have no idea how badly this hurts." And with that, she left. For a month after that, I heard nothing from Joyce at all. No texts, no calls, no nothing. I texted her several times a day, no response. I tried calling, but she had blocked my number. Meanwhile, Janet was acting like this was perfect. We could see each other as much as we wanted now. I have to admit, I did hook up with her a couple more times. But then I finally told her that if I had any chance of fixing my marriage, I had to stop. Janet tried to convince me that I didn't want to fix my marriage, or shouldn't want to. that she and I had something great. I insisted, though, and stopped seeing her. What I didn't know, however, is that Joyce had hired a private investigator to follow and spy on me. The private investigator saw the additional time I spent with Janet. Ultimately, that proved to be my undoing. One Saturday afternoon, Joyce came back home. What I didn't realize was that Joyce didn't come back to try to make things work. No. She simply walked in, walked over to the coffee table, and threw a manila envelope on the table. I opened the envelope only to see divorce papers, already signed by Joyce. She said, "I hired a private investigator to follow you after I left. It seems you saw Janet a few more times, and so I'm filing for divorce." I told her it was over, that I had broken it off with Janet. She shook her head. "I don't care. You can go back to your little floozy for all I care. I'm done." I begged her, but she wouldn't listen. I said, "So, that's it? You're throwing away 12 years of marriage without so much as a second try?" Joyce calmly informed me that I was the one that threw our marriage away, not her. And she was right. The divorce was messy and expensive for both of us. Joyce, for her part, wasn't as harsh as she could have been, not only because it shortened the process a little, but because somewhere deep down, she still had feelings for me. Joyce had the better paying job, so even though I cheated, I got a small amount of spousal support. That was it, though. She got the house and most of our meager savings that was left after financing the divorce. And so, as I said, here I am, a prisoner of my bad choices. Janet, for her part, has stopped talking to me at work, which is the subject of office gossip. They were inseparable a few months ago. Now they don't even acknowledge one another. I heard through a mutual friend of mine and Joyce's that she has completely moved on with her life. Isn't seeing anyone yet, though I expect that will come in time. But her business is doing well, and she devotes more time to it now that she doesn't have a husband to make time for. It's tougher for me. I am seeing someone, Tanya. We met at a community fundraiser. She's sweet, younger than me, and very opinionated. We'll see where it goes. But no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to shake the comparisons between her and Joyce. I wish I could go back in time to where Janet came over that fateful Saturday. If I could, I would tell her it's inappropriate for us to be meeting outside of work in a private setting like my home. But there are no time machines. I can't undo the past. I saw Joyce one last time a few months after the divorce. She looked at me and then looked back away just as quickly, with no visible reaction at all. I enjoyed my time with Janet, I won't lie. But I enjoyed our marriage even more. People often ask me if I thought it worth it. I always tell them the same thing. No, it definitely wasn't.